we're on. Alright, today's tutorial, everyone, is a couple of things with Final Cut. Now, you're all familiar with the film Possessed, because you did a beautiful film, because you did your narrative study on it, some of you. And that film actually won Best Film at the Oscars a few years ago.
I was there. I voted for it myself.
Good. I don't actually think it's because the story was... I don't actually like the end. I think the end of the film doesn't really work. But one of the main reasons it won is because in almost every single scene there's something cool happening visually. They're doing something interesting. It's just creative filmmaking. So what I thought I'd do is show you a few of the things that they did, and then show you how they actually achieved that on Final Cut. And you don't have to use the same exact techniques, or and just rip the film off, but you could. Or you could kind of see what they've done, how they've done it, and think, oh yeah, I could use that in a different way for my film. All right, so let's have a look at some of the scenes. One of the most visually stunning scenes in the film is this one. Okay, so a couple of things happening here. First thing is they have reduced the saturation down to 0. We covered how to do that in a previous tutorial. You simply open up the color board, go to saturation and lower it to 0, and then you have basically a black and white film like they have here. The second thing is that they have that cool sort of mirror clone effect where the character on the, well, it's the same character, but herself on the left side of the frame is doing something, and her mirror image on the right side of the frame is doing something different. So that is quite kind of cool, and I'm just going to show you real quick how to do that. Alright. So essentially they would have had two shots. Okay, they had the character on the left hand side of the frame playing out the scene, and then they had the exact same character playing out the scene on the right hand side of the frame, so that basically in the same position, so her mirror image is doing something different. And then all you have to do is splice them together and crop. So I'll just show you how to do that. We're just going to imagine that this is a different bit. And we're going to layer the thing over. So now we've got one image on the top and another image on the bottom. And I'm going to grab that top image. I'm going to click the crop tool here. And I'm going to crop across. Alright, and so you see when I start cropping, it starts revealing the shot that is on the bottom. Alright, so it's a really simple one, and it takes a little bit of planning in advance. You have to have the character not go over the line because suddenly their hand will disappear. But it was really effective in that film. The second thing that I will show you, the opening montage that sets up the story with the newspapers. Okay, so there's a couple of things happening there. One thing is that they're animating the newspaper clippings, so that it's not just boring, where you're not sure where you're supposed to look. The camera is actually moving and telling the eye where they're supposed to be looking at any given time. So I will show you quickly how to do that. For that one, you use the crop tool again. And over here you choose Ken Burns. Alright, Ken Burns, and that is the simplest way to animate and create basically a camera move within the frame. So here we've got a green box for where you want it to start and a red box for where you want it to end. So let's say you wanted to show the whole thing first and then have the camera like zoom in and focus on a certain section of the text. You'd do that, click done, and then it will zoom in like that. Alright, the second thing is that during that montage they had shots overlapping with each other. This is, you could use this if you have a character thinking about something, so instead of cutting to a flashback you could have this overlapping image over them. You could use it in other creative ways that you might think of. During a montage is often a handy one, which is basically what they've got here. So I'll show you how to do that. Let's use this newspaper thing as our base, and then let's use this as our base, and let's use the newspaper as what we want kind of overlapping it. Alright, so the image that I've got on the top of the timeline is the newspaper. Whatever's on the top will be what you actually see. So what we want to do is make that see-through so that we can see what's underneath and have the underneath one as the solid image. So for that you click on it, you go over to the inspector here, go right down to the bottom where it says compositing, and you'll see that it's got opacity here, and you simply drag that down to how see-through you want it to look, and now you can see we've got that newspaper montage overlapping the image on the bottom. Alright, so it's kind of a cool looking effect, and it's really super easy. It's like two clicks of a mouse button, but it looks super professional. Alright, so those are a couple of things that you might want to try out in your films. There are some other interesting things that they did. The good thing about this film is that they use a combination of in-camera effects and digital effects, which I recommend that you do as well. Digital effects often look fake, whereas in-camera ones, sometimes if they're pulled off right, they can look better. Anyway, that is Possessed. If you see anything in any short films or any films that you're watching and you wonder how they did it, you can come and ask me, or you can ask Google or YouTube, and they will probably know the answer as well. Thank you for listening.